Fear has a really interesting way of impacting childbirth. I once had a client who had been in labor for over 12 hours and could not get past 2 centimeters. No matter what we did, I was there supporting her as a birth doula, and I was getting her into different positions, giving her food, water, using the bathroom, doing everything I could think of to help her progress, because her and her baby were healthy. It didn't seem like there was any medical reason why she wasn't progressing. So I just started to ask her questions. I said, are you afraid of, the next phase of birth? Are you afraid about breastfeeding? I was going down my list, and I offhand said, are you afraid about something in your relationship? And she kind of lit up, and that was it. She was terrified that after she pushed a baby out of her body and it would never be the same again, that her husband would never think of her the same way and wouldn't want to have sex as much. And that really freaked her out. So I stepped out of the room and allowed them to have a conversation about that. And when I came back in, she seemed lighter, she seemed more open, and she seemed really ready. She then progressed, I kid you not, from 2 centimeters to 10 centimeters in 30 minutes. And after she got to that 10 centimeter point, she had her baby 30 minutes later. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And the core of it was fear. And once she was able to recognize the fear, work with it, and begin to dissolve it, the rest of her birthing experience went like that. It was one of the most beautiful, incredible things I've ever seen. So when you're able to know how to work with fear, know what it's doing in your body, in your mind, then you gain so much of your power back, and you can use that power to work through that fear. And that's what we're going to teach you how to do.
And this is something that happens to all of us. We all come into childbirth with our own set of experiences, our own things that have happened to us or around us that contribute to the fear that we hold in our bodies. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we can do is look at the way that fear is coming up during pregnancy. But sometimes we come into childbirth and we have no idea the way that it's going to show up. We have no idea what our emotional lives are going to bring up for us in childbirth. Mm-hmm. And so working with fear and knowing how to work with it in the moment is something that's a really powerful tool for childbirth.
While we're rarely in an actual life-threatening situation when we're feeling fear, our body doesn't know that. And so when we're having these fearful thoughts, our body is responding as if we are actually in a life-threatening situation. And so what happens when we're kicked into that state of fear is we're put into our sympathetic nervous system. So our nervous system has the sympathetic sphere, which we're going to call the emergency room. And we have the parasympathetic sphere, which is the meditation room. And so when we're experiencing that fight or flight response, we're sent into the emergency room. And what happens is our blood is sent to all of our defense organs. The uterus is not a defense organ. Our breathing becomes really labored and really tight. Our muscles become tight. Our pelvic region gets really, really small. So if you're in childbirth, it's really hard for baby's head to fit down through the pelvic region if you're in that fearful state. And we should really only be in this emergency room about 3% of our lives when we're in actual life-threatening situations. That's what it's there for. If you're being chased by a lion, yeah, you want to be in that emergency room so you can have that adrenaline and you can run and you can react. Or if you're driving on the freeway and somebody starts swerving into your lane, that's a good time to go into that emergency room so you're able to react really quickly. But the thing that is really sad, actually, for a lot of us is that we are in this emergency room about 50% of our lives. So if we're running late for an appointment or we have a stressful conversation, oftentimes we're kicked into that emergency room, and it makes it more difficult to respond in a calm, rational manner. So where we want to get to is the meditation room, our parasympathetic sphere of our autonomic nervous system. And in this space, we're able to breathe easily. The blood flows through all parts of the body. Our muscles relax. We become more open. That's a really, really good place to be when you're having a baby, because then, your cervix can open easily, you're breathing, your muscles are relaxed, your uterus is able to easily surge. Again, that cervix opens up, baby has space and room to come on out, the perineum unfolds. A great place to be. when you're moving through childbirth. Okay, so why aren't we in that meditation room when we're moving through childbirth most of the time? It's because it's really easy for women to be kicked into what we call the fear, tension, pain cycle when they're moving through childbirth. And so what that is the woman starts thinking these really fearful thoughts about childbirth, like, oh, I'm so afraid of the pain, or I'm afraid of the next surge, or I'm afraid that my body won't open. There's so many fears that we're fed by society about childbirth, right? So you're thinking all these fearful thoughts, and these fearful thoughts often cause tension in the body. And when you're moving through childbirth, tension in the body creates enhanced pain. And so when you experience this enhanced pain, you have more fearful thoughts. So fear, tension, pain, and that creates a really tricky situation during childbirth. All right, so how do you get out of that? One of the quickest ways that you can get out of that emergency room and go into the meditation room is just to breathe. Because it's almost impossible to be stuck in that emergency room when you're taking really deep, conscious breaths.
And so while you're practicing taking your deep conscious breaths right now, listening to everything that Bailey is saying, I'm going to bring you into just a little bit of a deeper moment with that. So if you can, get yourself into a comfortable seat. And I'm going to ask you just to close your eyes and just to do a very brief, very quick meditation with me, just so that you can experience a different level of integrating what Bailey is saying. So close your eyes and make yourself comfortable. And for the kind of meditation that I do, I welcome you to move and sway and feel your body and your energy. This doesn't have to be something that's still or tight. So use your breath, like Bailey was saying, use your breath. Slowly inhale, and before you exhale, allow yourself to pause and hold your breath just for a moment before you release. So inhale, slight pause, and exhale. And if you're pregnant while you're doing this, don't hold your breath for too long. Just give yourself like a slow inhale and a slow exhale. Now do that a couple of times. Slow inhale, slow intentional exhale. And on your next inhale, start to bring your awareness inward. And as you exhale, bring your attention into your core. So with that exhale, you're bringing your awareness into the core, the center of your body. And I want you to imagine that there is a ball of light in there. Keep using your breath to bring your awareness there. Imagine in your core there's a ball of light, and with every breath that you take, you're spreading that light throughout your body. So each breath brings that light into all of the cells of your body, into your limbs, down your legs, out your arms, through every part of you. And as you do this, notice where your energy is. You may not even know what that means, but just start to notice, start to pay attention to that concept. You feel that core in your center of your body filled with light emanating through all of your cells. And notice where your energy is. Use your breath to connect into that energy. That light and that energy that you feel in your body and you see in your body, that is your power. So start to develop a relationship with that, using your breath, going inward. Now imagine with every breath that you're expanding that light, not just in your body, into all of your cells, but also around your body. The light's coming out of you, and it's creating a protective force field around you. The light from your inner core is emanating out of you, encompassing your whole body. And with every breath, you can imagine that light expanding to get bigger and bigger. You can imagine it filling up the whole room you're sitting in. You can imagine it going even further than that, as big as you need to make it. Keep feeling the energy building in your body as you expand this light. Keep your light big. Keep your power strong. Take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, you can let your eyes come open. So before we move on to the next thing, I want to take a moment to invite you to just get a journal. Take a moment to sit with what just happened. You can pause this video if you need to, so that you can take a moment to write down what you've noticed. Even if what you noticed was that that was a completely new thing for you to do, write that down. We want to start developing a relationship with your inner power, with your inner light, so that you can carry this on with you into other parts of your life, into childbirth, into motherhood. Part of why I want to help you to develop a relationship with that power inside of you, that energy that's inside of you, is because it's like any relationship in our life. The more that we nurture it and the more energy that we give it, the stronger that relationship becomes. And if we develop a strong relationship with our power inside of us, when fear inevitably does come up, because it's going to come up in our life, when fear comes up, we have something that we have learned to access inside of ourselves. Because ultimately, the fear is something that's going to be smaller than the power that's inside of us. The power that's inside of us is huge. It's massive, and really it's infinite. You can access it to whatever extent you need to in that moment. So the more that you practice with that energy, the more that you practice relating to yourself from that power source, the more you're going to be able to bring that into your regular life. You're going to be able to bring that into hard situations, and you're going to especially be able to bring that into your childbirth experience.